The final day of my horror movie marathon, 2012, October, video number 31. You might be saying, why the hell did you choose to do a black and white film? Well, look closer, Detective Matthews. You mean all this time we could have been friends? Released on October 31st, 1962, the 50th anniversary to this day, Halloween. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane was released, and it went on to become a sleeper hit, made $9 million. I'm going to try and paint the picture of this plot, the non-spoiler version, spoiler-free for people who haven't heard of it, basically. Within a few sentences here. Basically, two sisters who grew up in the golden age of Hollywood, who are huge stars, who basically it's the twisted tale of how everything went down and how it all ended in their relationship, and it's obviously a lot more complicated than that. Every now and then a script comes around that's just perfect for its time, like Phone Booth in 2003, how cell phones were taken over and how all the phone booths were just disappearing everywhere. Perfect script for its time. This was just another perfect script for its time. The Bette Davis and Joan Crawford, even if you're just an average movie fan, you've at least heard of those two actresses. They were huge during the golden era, 30s, early 40s Hollywood. It reached the point where in the early 60s where obviously their careers were drying out, just like their skin. And the rumor has it that Warner Brothers financed it, but even the executives didn't want to budge much on a budget or give them anything. They saw it as, even one of the executives was even quoted as saying, like, I wouldn't give you money to finance a movie for these old hags. Basically, that's what he said. And I didn't know this the first time I saw this movie, but the second time I saw it, I didn't notice this the first time, but then after I did research that, Joan Crawford and Bette Davis actually literally hated each other. It's not like they hated each other before it, but they were actually fighting, and it was like a reality TV show type of feud going on. Pre-production, during filming, and post-production. Bette Davis, who's credited as the villainous character in this movie, and gets a lot of love in horror villain profile rankings, basically, as one of the greatest villains of all time and best portrayals of all time. She was nominated for an Oscar. There was 5 Oscar nominations for this movie. She didn't win it, but Joan Crawford basically had a campaign for voters not to vote against her. That's how much she hated her, and they actually had physical altercations on set. So moving on from that, so that just added to the tension of this relationship of these two sisters that basically hate each other. And the script is good. I wouldn't say great. It could have been a lot better. Overall, I'd give it a B. I'm going to dive more into the relationship now. Basically, the rest of this is for people who have seen the film. It's basically about their love-hate relationship that mostly turns into hate over the years and unravels throughout the film. And it reaches its boiling point at the end of the film, obviously. And the Baby Jane character, played by Bette Davis, who was a child actress, as we know, the alcohol and seclusion and all the time that has passed has really disillusioned her state of mind, obviously. She's lived in the past for so long that she's unaware of the severity of her actions, and the only way to cope with her sister's condition, who's in a wheelchair, is she still sees herself is by acting mean to her. And Bette Davis, Mary Jane, she still sees herself as a star, and she's so mentally messed up that at times she even thinks that other people should still see her that way, and she still dresses that way as a young child actress. It starts off in 1917. She basically has dissociative identity disorder, borderline, and the alcohol is obviously magnifying that. We learn that Blanche is the one who actually tried to kill her. And basically she's just the only way to her to cope with that, like I was saying, is she's just seen as okay, I gotta hate her if she hates me. And that's the way it's gotta be, and it's a lot deeper than that too. And they obviously grew up in the same house, and she sees her as a star, but she's been catering to her and obviously been her live-in nurse basically to her sister, who ended up being a bigger star than her. Just a really twisted tale. I mean, I'll even go even more into the psychological and relationship when I do a villain profile eventually of this. But whatever happened to Baby Jane? 50th birthday today, Halloween, 1962. Perfect time to check it out. This was JBM from VillainNews. I do horror and comic book movie discussions. And check out my video of the upcoming remake. I made a suggestion, Glenn Close as Baby Jane, maybe even Meryl Streep as Baby Jane. I'd love to see Sharon Stone as the Joan Crawford Blanche character. Look forward to that in the future. I do a video where I do a discussion on that, so check that out. And I'm out.